evening, everyone. I have Janya here, I have Sheena here, so many of them. Thank you so much for joining in. We're just waiting for maybe a minute or so, and then we can go ahead and start the session. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right, let me not keep everyone else waiting as well. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this on a very lovely, gloomy Saturday evening, if I may say so. The weather has taken a beautiful turn, and I don't think we expected so, at least not in the Delhi NCR area as such. I have quite a few of you out here. Thank you again, once again, for joining us to take in some inputs on what the MBA field looks like. What is B schools? What is B school selections? How do we look at specialization areas? What sort of qualities can we look through that as well? So what we'll do is over the next maybe 20, 25 minutes, half an hour max, I will take you through some stories maybe to sort of help you understand what the management market is all about. What is management all about, and why is it so important for you to understand the necessity and requirement for a student to do a master, specifically in the business administration area. So we look at that, and post that, I would love to have some questions from all of you all as well. Now, first things first, on your boxes, you have a chat box. So in case if I ask you any questions, please go ahead and feel free to put in your responses there. That'll be really, really helpful. Secondly, you also have a Q&A box on your screens. If you have any questions very specific to your B school aspirations, just let me know your questions there as well, and I will try and take all of them towards the end of it. To start with, my name is Anju. I handle admissions and marketing at Rishihood University. Rishihood is India's first and only impact university. We started in 2020, and I think the entire endeavor, every particular muscle that moves in Rishihood is towards creating impact at various levels, at the society level, at the level of students, at the level of faculty, at the level of parents, and a lot of other things as well. So there are a lot of initiatives that we've taken in terms of helping our stakeholders understand and take better and more informed decisions. And this is just one such initiative. We do sessions almost every Saturday on various topics that are related to why a B school can be helpful to you, why a B school sort of nurtures the entire idea of your career as well. And in case if you'd like to be part of the same going ahead as well, you can be part of our application processes and access all of them. Fun fact, I've also been a career counselor and international consultant for quite some time. I think about 2 decades now, that I've been talking to students on a very regular basis on why they should do an MBA. So back in the day when back in the day when we had let's say when we had lesser number of institutions in the country, more number of aspirants in the country as well. The questions that I would usually get from students is that, should I do an MBA or should I do an MS abroad? Should I do a master's in India or should I do a master's abroad? That used to be the question. Or should I do an MBA at all? Now I think the questions have changed. The questions are no longer with respect to should I do an MBA or not. Now I think the way that you look at questions has to be that what sort of an MBA do I do? Do I do a good MBA? Or do I just do an average MBA? So what sort of an MBA program, what sort of a master's in business administration should I actually look at to ensure that I get the sort of career progression that I'm looking at after a certain period in my career? So I'm going to try and see if I can help out with all of you all on the same. Quickly, just to start off and to know that all of you are alive and kicking on the call, can I just get on the chat box some specializations that you all would like to know about? What are the basic confusions? You're looking at B schools, you're looking to start your MBA. What are your, top of the mind doubts that you have, or top of the mind queries in your head? What is it that is troubling you in this journey of consideration? If you can just quickly put into the chat box, and then I will be able to sort of take through them as well. And I would like this to be as interactive as possible. So do not worry, your messages will be seen by me, by no one else. So you don't have to worry you're being judged in case if that is a worry particularly. Just go ahead and type in. Let's make this easier. What are the specialization areas that you're looking at? There are multiple specialization areas in MBA. We talk about finance, we talk about marketing, we talk about human resources, we talk about international business, there's entrepreneurship, there's business analytics, there's supply chain management, there's operations. There are so many specialization areas. What is the specialization area that you all are looking at? And any of you all can just go. I have Tarun, I have Sheena, I have Muskan, I have Janya, I have Neha, I have Shikhar, I have Shubham. So many of you all here. Just type in your answers in the chat box and I'd love to see the answers. Or if you think that, ma'am, I just don't know what sort of a specialization to take, that is also okay. You can just put that out. Put it across that if you don't understand what the specialization areas are and what you're confused as to which area you want to get into, just mention that as well. So I have a sense of understanding of what the crowd is thinking. Am I audible to everyone? Yes, no? Anyone on the chat box? Am I audible to everyone? Okay, Muskan says human resources and finance. Okay, Muskan, all right. What else? Anyone else? Janya, Tarun? What specialization areas are you looking at? That's it, only human resources and finance, no one else for anything else? Yes. Okay, I have someone from marketing. HR and marketing, okay. All right, fine, done. So HR and marketing, finance and entrepreneurship, fabulous. I think I have almost all of them here. Anyone for operations? Anyone for international business? Come on, international business and operations cannot be left alone. They're nice specializations as well. Anyone on those lines? Anyone who wants to know whether I should do an MBA or not in the first place? Forget specializations. Explain more about operations. All right, Janya, I will take that into consideration as well. All right, let's look at things. Now, firstly, I don't want this to be a, I will give you 4-5 pointers and you write down and life is sorted sort of a session. Digital marketing specialization in MBA. Tarun, a lot of institutions do offer a very specific digital marketing course. But I personally feel, I'm a digital marketer myself, I personally feel that for digital marketing alone, you don't need to do an MBA in the first place. You can do an MBA in marketing. Across all the good universities, the curriculum in marketing has evolved to include a lot of new age marketing techniques. One of them is which is digital marketing. You can look at that, and you can do some certificate courses along that. So that will sort of help you build a career within the same as well. All right, so I have a basic sense of what are the areas that you're looking at. Does anyone know that in India specifically, when did we start talking about management, or rather MBA as a career, very, very strongly? Now, why was there a need for more and more MBA aspirants? Why was there a need for more and more managers or MBA graduates in the country? When did this happen? When did this shift happen? Any idea? Any research done? All of you all should be already in the process. 1953, that's a long time ago. I wish our country was that fast forwarded then, but not really. Not really, not so much. Anyone else? Yes? When was the timeline in India when it suddenly became a boom? You had MBAs earlier than that. You had people who were into management professions earlier than that as well. But that particular period was a turning point after which I think the entire country has seen a lot of growth in terms of the management programs as well, and management aspirants also. And there was a very particular market shift in the country's, the country's perception across the world. Any guesses? Flukes? Jo mana mani bhai. I'm not gonna mark you on this. You're not gonna get 100 marks on 100 for an answer which is right or wrong. Yes? 8 to 9 years back. Okay. What about Shubham? 8 to 9 years back is very recent. 8 to 9 years back is what? Barely about, so you're talking about 2013, 14, 15. Okay. Okay. What else? Someone has said, fantastic. Thank you so much, Shikhar. Shikhar says 91, 92. The years 1991 and 92 are extremely important to the Indian context. And I will give you a small example on, what happened then and why we are talking about management, or why we are talking about the necessity for an MBA to have a career which is much more global as well. Pre-1990, 1991, 91, between 1947 to let's say 1991, India obviously had gotten independence. We had a lot of money. Then we became absolutely poor as a country as well. And we took a long time to grow. We also came, sometimes history teaches us, lessons that shouldn't have been taught to us, or rather we shouldn't have taken them that way. So one of the lessons that we thought was that if I let an outsider come, right? So for 200 years, we were ruled by the British. So our thought process was, when we got an independence into the country, the thought process was that if I let an outsider come into my country, he's going to come and rule again. So between 1947 to 91, we all focused as a nation to only go ahead and develop our own resources and try and see that we can go ahead and cater to our own needs ourselves. We were so closed. We were such a closed group country, which had stopped interacting with the world to the extent that it could have. And somewhere that put us more back in time than what happened when we were at the British Raj as well. Somewhere around 91, 92, the country realized that we have a large population of youngsters. Even today, India is one of the youngest countries in the entire world. Our average age of an Indian national is anywhere between 24, 25. You go to any particular mall, you go to any particular, place to visit, you go to any particular destination, you go to any particular holiday destination or any place at all, you'll find that the maximum number of people that you find there are people between the ages of 24 to 28. Our average age is around 24. No problem, Shubham, don't worry about it. Just catch up. We just started off at the Vice as well. So yeah, we realized that we're a very young country, and naturally, the necessity, and we obviously are a burgeoning population as well. Every minute there is an addition of, I don't know how many thousands of babies that come into our country as well. So our entire focus was, how do I get employment? I have very limited resources. I have only 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 companies that are catering. So if I want a biscuit, I have Parle-G. If I want, something else, if I want a drink, I have Fruity or something of that sort. So I don't have those many options. I have very limited options, and therefore these limited options could only generate limited employment opportunities. What happens then to the lakhs and lakhs of other youngsters in the country who couldn't get a job? So 91, 92, the then finance minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, with all his intellect and all his credence, opened up the economy to the entire world. Right? They opened up the Indian economy and then said, boss, if I have to get my youngsters a job, I need to have more companies come and set up shop in India. 91, 92 is the time when we spoke about a concept called as globalization. I'm just writing it down on the chat box as well for your easy reference, and you can refer to it. Globalization, liberalization, privatization. We got into this entire scheme of LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization, in the years 91, 92. And that totally shifted the way India was looked at by outsiders, as well as how we looked at the sort of career opportunities till then. Till then, India was always known as manufacturers. You had more companies doing automotives, you have more companies doing mechanics, more technology. Globalization, the moment we opened up the entire thing, what happened? All these companies like, what do you say, an Apple and Suzuki and a Taekwondo, so many particular companies started to come to our country. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all of them started to come to our country because this was a large market. I had a large population which was youngsters. I had a large population which was ready to be employed. India was probably the only country where companies would hire youngsters. Why? Because we were a large population of qualified, not necessarily educated, but highly well English speaking youth. And therefore we were cheap. We were very cheap labor. So naturally, a lot of companies came into picture. Just a small example to this as well. I remember at that point of time, there is this company called as Hero Honda, right? So you used to do a lot of automators, a lot of particular places, and they realized a certain pain point. And this was all coming in because they had also started to map in what is happening outside, what is happening across the world with respect to competitors that they had, what sort of products they were also delivering to their audiences. 91, 92, 93, during that time, a youngster, that was the time when Ashiki 1 came into picture. That was the time that, love was at its high. And a lot of Indian couples had started running out of their houses to go and get married. What happens when you get out of your typical Indian systems and typical Indian ethos or culture is that your parents look at a girl for you, your parents look at a boy for you, you get married, family, everyone is happy, right? But at that point of time, because there were suddenly so many opportunities and so many options to work for, the girl and the guy would run away and they would get married and both of them would start working. Now the wear that an Indian woman would wear at that time for office would be a sari. Right? Usually it would be a sari. Now, the automotive that was most happening at that point of time was a scooter. But imagine a beautiful young girl like any of you all out here is wearing a sari and is trying to kickstart a scooter. 1, 2, 3. It's very heavy. It's very strenuous. You break your chappals. Your sari could get entangled to your scooter. It could go off. And Hero Honda, or rather Honda at that time, noticed this pain point of the youngsters, noticed this pain point of the young married woman, and introduced a device or introduced a product called as Kinetic Honda. The first, just press the button and start a vehicle without any gears, just go ahead and have a smooth day. That was the sort of innovation that had started happening because the country had opened up. Now, when the country opened up, naturally, the demand for a lot of soft forces, demand for a lot of soft people, soft managers. When I say soft, doesn't mean that the person is very soft with you. When I mean soft, it means it's not a hardcore labor-oriented work. It's work where you had to manage people, you had to understand people and do things. And that's when an MBA started becoming very popular. In fact, MBA is a concept that sort of, or rather management degree is a concept that is so applicable, and it is so, it is so common to every particular field that you cannot miss it. Today, doctors and lawyers may be paid very high, but people who are managing these doctors, people who are managing these lawyers, people who are managing these hospitals or managing these law firms are paid much more higher than those doctors or those lawyers who are in those technical fields. That is the power of management. That is the power of management, which is absolutely pervasive across every area. In fact, just a small example of what globalization is. Globalization technically means that you're very interconnected. And that's why the opportunity for you to go ahead and look for global careers as well, right? Um, 20, 30, 40 years back, if I were a student and if I said I did not really know a lot about my course curriculum because I did not have anything, at hand, I did not have resources, I had very limited books or very limited resources from which I could learn, it was an excuse that people would have accepted. Today, people don't accept that because everything for you is at the click of a button. You have Google Baba at your service at all times. You can ask him whatever you want to do, how to break up with my girlfriend, how to patch up with my girlfriend, how to write a resume. And now with all of, now with all the beauty of chat GPTs and everything else together, you're doing your assignments through them. So you have so much information and so much interconnectedness that is there. And just an example of this interconnectedness is this beautiful story of a late princess. I'm sure some of you may have heard this earlier as well. This particular, the tragic death story of this princess is a classic example of why globalization is there and why we need managers to go ahead and manage multiple things in a particular area. Who was this princess? Any idea? Anyone in the group? Anyone amongst the attendees? Anyone? Who is this princess that I'm talking about? Yes? This was an old princess. She died some time back, a lot of years back. And her story, her tragic death story is the classic example of globalization. Yes, anyone? I have Yashaswini, I have Tarun, I have Shubham, I have Janya, I have Muskan, I have Neha. I have so many of you all that I can't even count the names right now. I'm just reading out the names who are on the top right now. Yes, any idea who is this princess? Come on, good evening. Guess karo. Any particular guess, any random guess is fine. All right, no idea, no idea. I have an idea, but let me see. Okay. All right, this is, thank you, Sheena. This is the princess called as Princess Diana. So who was Princess Diana? Princess Diana was a British princess. Okay, hear me out very clearly. She was a British princess with a Welsh subtitle, with an Egyptian boyfriend who was, and they were going in a car. The car was driven by a Belgian driver who was drunk on Scottish whiskey. And because he was drunk and these two were hiding from the entire world, they were going very fast. They were being chased by Italian paparazzi on Japanese motorcycles, and they were going so fast, so fast, so fast that they went and crashed into the Swiss tunnel. An American doctor with Brazilian medicines and Indian naturopathy briefly tried to recover the two of them, but he failed. And my name, the person who's telling you the story, is me. My name is Anju. I was born in Kashmir, brought up in Chennai, then sometime in Delhi, sometime in Lucknow, a little bit time in Indore. I spent some time in Bhopal. I had a good 2 to 3 years of retreat somewhere in Guwahati. I went to Singapore for a couple of years. I've traveled to the northern part of the world. I've traveled to Egypt. And last I was in Pune, and today I'm logging in from a city called as Sonipat. This entire interconnected cycle of things is globalization for you. This is how connected things are. So today, a particular degree that can prepare you for this interconnected world is the MBA program, is the Masters in Business Administration. Why? Because whether you do a psychology business, whether you do an art business, whether you do an education business, whether you do a medical business, you do any particular industry, the concepts of finance, the concepts of marketing, the concepts of human resources, the necessity for you to understand international businesses, all of these concepts are common. All of these concepts are known. Now, the MBA itself has evolved a lot. Again, at the start of its popularity in 91, 92, 93, the MBA was focused on extremely watertight specializations, which means if you're a person who can see numbers, fine, you're a number-loving person, you enjoy enjoy mathematics, you enjoy working with numbers. When you're traveling on the road, आप traffic में हैं, आपके सामने एक गाड़ी खड़ी है, which where the number of that गाड़ी would be maybe 1920. Your brain immediately goes off into 19 into 20, 1 into 920, 20 into 19, 20 into 9, 92 into 10, and multiple permutations and combinations. You are a person who's obsessed with maths. You would be fantastic with something like finance. You're someone who is extremely tuned to being in finance. But earlier in MBA, we used to focus on specialization. We used to focus on watertight specializations. The idea was that one person should go ahead and specialize in one particular area, do that particularly well, and outside, as an outcome, when you become a specialist in that particular field. Now, over the years, we've also realized that no business problem comes to you in specification. Let's understand this, okay? And again, a short story. And I'm going to give you a lot of stories, guys. I want you to understand the meaning of everything and grasp the meaning out of it rather than only taking notes out here. And if any of these stories resonates, please use them in any of your GDPI rounds with B schools as well. I'm again going to take up the timeline for let me take up a phone for that matter. Okay, I think this is much better rather than taking you through a business story. I have a phone in my hand. All right. Can someone tell me on the chat box, what are the thought processes that go into picture? What are the sort of insights that go into making while making this phone? What are the things that you think of while making this phone? I'll give you an example and I'll start with it. I want to know that the phone, how big is it or how small is it? Does it fit into my hand well or not? This is a concept of design thinking. This is a concept of product design, right? Likewise, what are the other thought processes? What are the other things that you have to think of while building the phone? Again, the chat box is open. Please go ahead. Processor, all right. So that's the technology part of it. You have to have some concepts of technology in place for you to understand how things function. Very good. That's good, Janya. What else? Needs, in the sense, functionalities. Okay. Customer satisfaction, which means we are talking about psychology out here. Yes, just when he says security wise, it has to be the best. So again, technology concept. All right. What else? Where are the boys? Where are the boys? I don't have any answers from the boys. Yes, what happens to the Shubhams and the Taruns and everyone else? And the Nikhils? Multiple things coming together, okay. Yeah, but then what are those multiple things? We've had security, which is tech. We have customer satisfaction, which is psychology. We have processor or the needs, which is again tech. What else? I've already spoken about product design, so that's on the design part. What else do I do when I have to launch this phone into the market? Or kya sochenge hum log? Printing for a phone? How? Printing for a phone? No, not necessarily. Design, yes. How does it look? What sort of product does it need? Yes. Customer needs, that is marketing. That's a concept for marketing. Customer needs is, yes. What else? Good, Shubham. Anything else? Anything else? Come on, guys. Brand design, advertising. How do I make it to people? How do I reach it out to people, right? So if I sell this phone to someone in Delhi, what is the perspective? I may sell it to them saying that this is going to improve your social status. But if I'm selling this to someone in Chennai, maybe the concept would be that this is a fantastic phone. It is full of functionalities because they don't really care about status, but they need to know that the phone is functional for the price that they're doing. All right. So brand design, advertising, consumer behavior, which is marketing again, and also a little bit of psychology. What else? Come on. Where is the pesa? What talks about money? What is the concept that talks about money? Yes, no, anyone? Phone pricing? Yes, who decides the price? So you need to have an economics background or you need to have a finance background, right? To decide what is the pricing of the phone as well. Now, what am I meaning to say with this example? This example illustrates very clearly that when I'm designing a product or when I'm trying to solve a particular problem, there are multiple perspectives that we have to think of. I cannot think only in one way. Which means, let's say tomorrow, if Shubham goes ahead and does a specialization in finance, and I ask him to launch a product, he cannot say, boss, मैं तो finance कर रहा है, I will only do pricing, मैं इसके ऊपर कुछ नहीं करेगा. You cannot say that. You have to have understanding of every particular field, every particular specialization, and then utilize that. Utilize those perspectives towards getting a very solid solution. Fine. And that's what a good MBA program, or that's what a good university will focus on. It will give you the sort of environment, it will give you the sort of space where you can build on multiple perspectives, where you can gain multiple perspectives, multiple thought points. You can meet more people, understand what is their background, how does things appeal to them, get knowledge about different approaches, and then get a proper solution. That's what a good MBA does. That's what you should aim for, and that's what you should look for when you're looking to finalize a certain B school as well. One of my ex-colleagues used to say this, and I stand by it with all my heart, that MBA is like marriage. Okay, MBA is like marriage. Do it late, but don't do it wrong. गलत मत करिएगा. MBA शादी की तरह, आपको जितना देर से करना कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर आपने गलती किया, तो then the entire life gets gets haywire here and there because of that one particular decision. So you have to be very, very careful with respect to the fact that you're choosing the right particular B school. And that is why for today's topic, we decided that we'll talk about B school selections and management specializations as well. So first come first, everyone's clear, more or less, with respect to the fact that why we're doing an MBA at all in the first place. Now, what are the certain parameters that we look at when we are choosing a business school? Okay. And again, I'm not saying this only because I'm from Rishihood or from a Rishihood perspective, but I would want you to sort of think through this on an overall basis. Let me try and see if I can share my screen and then talk to you guys on that. Wait up. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Okay. Ta-da. Wait up. Okay, I don't think there is a need to be an issue with this. All right, I think we may not be able to see the screen, but I will still try and see if I can take you through the options. All right. Now, what are the particular things that you select a B school or other a B school on? Any particular idea? Any of you all know? Any of you all know? Any of you all have an idea with respect to how things can be done? Yes. What do you think are the concepts? What are the certain pointers that you have in your mind? If you can give me an idea. Campus selection basis in the sense, the selection process. Shubham, if I'm right, is that what you mean? Okay, resource analysis. All right. What else? What else? What else? Or kya hai bhai? Any other answers? Any other answers? Faculty. All right. So I have campus selection. What is the admission process like? Someone has said resource analysis. Someone has said, what is the sort of practical knowledge? Faculty. Fantastic. You guys are just like, you already know everything. I know why we're doing this as well. You already know everything possible. Let me try and see if I can still, just give me 1 minute. I'm just trying to fix this thing so it's easier for you to sort of note down and go through as well. Do I have any other ideas meanwhile? Anyone else? Curriculum, okay. Practical knowledge for sure. We spoke about that. You guys are missing a very, very key factor in MBA. A very key concept in MBA. बहुत ही ज़्यादा specific है ये MBA को लेके. Placements, internships, yes. Guys, placements and internships are what do you say? They're like, it is sad in our country that we look at education or other educational institutions as placement agencies. Educational institutions were never meant to be placement agencies, right? Their job was to go ahead and create opportunities for you where you could grow, where you could go ahead and you could, you could go ahead and you could maybe just gain knowledge enough that you are able to learn at a lifelong base, not just for now, for any particular point of time. You're able to go ahead and fix up things well. So that's what that was what the entire thing was. But anyways, we will see how things we'll look at a couple of options and then let me check up. Tell me if you can see my screen. Okay, let me check up. Okay, I'm using a different system and it's apparently very horrible. All right, guys, I don't think this can work out. Let me just take you through otherwise as well. Link between managerial skills and entrepreneurial skills. Okay, knowing the own talent of ourselves after completing the MBA. Okay. All right, guys, couple of things that you have to keep in mind. The main thing in an MBA program, the main takeaway of an MBA program is the network that you build. All right. What is it? It is the network that you build. What do you mean by network? Can anyone tell me? When I say you need to build a network, what is the network like? Yes, anyone? You have to build a network. That is for sure. Okay, you have to go ahead and build a network. Connections that you make. What do you mean by connections? What is this network? How does it help? Why is it necessary? How can you build a particular network in an MBA program? Connecting with people from different mindsets. Okay, and why is it important? Why is it important to connect with people from different backgrounds, from different mindsets, from different cultures? What happens? What does this networking do? Have you all heard of the game called as golf? Effective in communication with people. Yes, Yashaswini. But that does not necessarily mean that you have to do networking. No, you can learn communication skills otherwise as well. Interrelated, we never know what comes up next. Okay. All right. I get all of your points. So in the game of golf, there is a very crucial thing. A lot of students, specifically in the MBA program as well, I personally feel should have the knowledge of golf because it teaches you, number one, patience. You have to be very patient with the entire game, but also the fact that a game of golf exposes you to the top class, or rather the top business magnates of every particular country. And therefore your networking, the way that you go ahead and connect with people who will matter, that is networking. Now, a good MBA program will give you ample opportunities where you're able to connect with people from different backgrounds and build a certain network. This network will actually define how you do well in your career. Please understand, India probably is the only country, and again, I'm not saying this just like that, India probably is the only country where an MBA college can say that I have a placements team in place. I have a team that focuses on getting you placements and internships, and I have campus placements. Anywhere in the world you go, you may be going to Harvard Business School, you may be going to Kellogg School of Management. These are two of the best institutions in the world for an MBA. They do not have a placements team. They do not have a career services team. What they do is they help you get opportunities to build your network. Your network is your net worth. All right. I'm again mentioning this on the chat box. If you want, please use this in your GDPIs or wherever interviews, and likewise, and you'll be your network is your net worth. That is what you're worth. How strong is your network? How many people do you know? How many strings can you pull across here and there? Your MBA college is only going to help you get your first job. Your first job, your MBA college will help you. But post that, on an average, an Indian person would change at least 4 to 5 different jobs. All right. In these 4 to 5 different jobs, second, third, fourth, fifth are going to come from the network that you built in your MBA college. It's not going to come through anywhere else. It's going to come through the network that you built in your college. So a good college or a good university, there are certain parameters. Number one, you will check for it. How diverse is the crowd? How diverse is my peer group? Where are the students in this campus coming from? A classic problem with a lot of colleges and Indian students, all of you all may understand this. A lot of times our parents don't want us to move out. Our parents don't want us to move out too far away, right? Even for an MBA program for that matter. But look at any good institution in the country, whether it is IIMs, whether it is IITs. You look at any particular college. You look at the best universities and the best colleges in the country. All of these are colleges wherein you will have representation from at least 25, 26 states in the country. You will also have representation from international students. Why? Why should students from 26 different states, if they're coming to a place like Sonipat and studying at Rishi University, what happens? What difference does it make? What difference does it make than you attending a college and maybe, let's say you're from Gwalior and you have a college wherein 90% of the students come from Gwalior? What is the difference between the two? Yes, anyone on the chat box? Let's say you're at Rishur, you have peers, you have students who are from 25, 26 different states and international countries, and you are in a college in Gwalior, or you're in a college in XYZ place, where 90% of your students come from that city only. What is the difference in the education that you get? What is the difference in the experience that you get? Diversity is important, yes. But what is the experience? होता क्या है आपके साथ? Why is it necessary कि मुझे एक चेन्नई वाले के साथ भी बैठना है, मुझे एक हैदराबाद वाले के साथ भी बैठना है? I have to sit with someone from Andhra as well. I have to sit with someone from Guwahati as well. Why is that so much more important than me just sitting with people from my own city? All-round development, all right. Having students from the same city won't allow you to know about diverse perspectives and culture. Fantastic, Jania. That's absolutely bang on. Guys, concepts are very different. You are what your entire environment is, right? So if I'm talking to someone, people have different mindsets. Yes, Shubham, very nice, right? When you interact with people, so when I go to someone in Delhi and I say that I want to open up a business, okay, and I have some money, I want to open up a business immediately, the person in Delhi will be like, fantastic, this is really nice, it's a good idea, let's open up a business, okay? But the same sentence, if I go to someone in maybe Chennai or Coimbatore, and if I tell them that, boss, I have some money, I want to start a business of my own, the person will be like, why do you want to do that? Why don't you just do a job and become much more entrepreneurial there? Try and become more entrepreneurial, try and become more innovative in a particular job, grow there rather than putting your own money and becoming entrepreneurial. Why are these two different mindsets? Because the environments are like that. Delhi is more entrepreneurial, Chennai is more working class. Chennai is more service class. Yes. So when you get together with students from different backgrounds, it helps you develop different perspectives. So tomorrow, if let's say a Shubham, a Neha, a Shikhar, I have Bunty. Okay, I have Bunty. If all of you guys get together to start a business and you say, "Ye business idea isko karna hai," all four of you are from different places. All four of you will have different mindsets. All four of you will have different approaches. Therefore, it's very, very necessary that you get into a college which has a very diverse peer group. It has students from a lot of places who come in and study and not necessarily from just one place. All right. Number two, what is the ecosystem? Now, what do you mean by an ecosystem? An ecosystem is the environment that supports a certain business school or a certain institution, right? In India, for management, for business, for careers, there are some ecosystems. Number one ecosystem in the entire country is the Delhi NCR ecosystem. You have maximum number of companies who have their headquarters in Gurgaon, right? So your Delhi NCR belt is a very strong belt in terms of an ecosystem. Then you have companies in Bombay, you have concentration of companies in Bangalore, you have Pune to an extent, you have Hyderabad to an extent, Chennai to an extent again. So these are the particular cities that you should look for when you're looking for an MBA program as well. If I put you in a B school in Jamshedpur, mind you, apart from Xavier's Labor Relation Institute in Jamshedpur, which is an age-old institution, very difficult to get into, apart from XLRI, Jamshedpur has nothing to offer. In fact, a classic example of this is the IITs. You have an IIT Bombay, you have an IIT Delhi, you have an IIT Madras, you also have an IIT Kharagpur. IIT Kharagpur is the oldest IIT in the entire IIT history, and yet the IITs that are doing really, really well, the students who are doing really, really well are those who study in Bombay, Delhi, and Chennai, not the ones in Kharagpur, because Kharagpur is no ecosystem for business. It's a very small town. So your ecosystem is very, very important. So check where are you going? Am I going to a place in these ecosystems? Am I going to a college in Bombay? Am I going to a college in Delhi NCR? Am I going to a college somewhere wherein the access to these particular companies, these industries are very, very close? So that ecosystem really, really matters a lot. And you have to keep that in mind, right? Then what is the third particular part? So we've spoken about right ecosystem. We've spoken about a diverse peer group as well. Then we look at something called as a residential campus. And I keep harping on this one or two, I think Jana, I've had a conversation with her earlier as well on the same thing. It is extremely important for you to go to a residential campus, even if that campus is only 10 minutes away from your house. I know it's not comfortable. I know the concept that comes into mind is, oh my God, why do I have to pay so much for, staying in a residential campus when I'm just staying about, say, 5, 10, 15 minutes away from the campus? Please understand, a residential campus totally changes the way that you experience the MBA education. 70% of your learning in an MBA program happens outside the classroom, not inside the classroom. A good institution would ensure that only 30% of your entire education happens inside the classroom. All right. 70% of it happens outside the classroom. When I mean by 70%, doesn't mean that you're going into oops, sorry, I don't know whether you can see me, but I think I can still continue talking. So 70% of your entire learning happens outside the classroom, which does not mean that you're sitting under a tree and you're making groups with people and you're learning there. No, it necessarily means that a lot of your MBA education is done on assignments, on group work, on projects that you have to sit with your team of students from different backgrounds and then learn. And mind you, you do not get marks for your individual performance. So agar aap 5 log hain, if you're 5 people, 4 of you all do really well, but one person in the team does not perform well in the presentation, all of you all will not get the right set of marks. Because you were supposed to work in the team, you were supposed to ensure that each and every member in the team progresses equally, right? So 70% of your learning happens outside, and this could be at whatever number of hours in the day. Therefore, the residential campus becomes equally important in terms of your overall understanding. Then, what is the sort of industry exposure? We spoke about the right ecosystem. That is what is interconnected to industry exposure as well. How many people come to your campus on a regular basis? How many guest lectures do you have? Do I have a system? So at Rishi and I know we have about 120 plus interactions, industry interactions that happen in a year. Just in the last week, I've had the AVP of a company called as Orange Woods, which is doing some fantastic work in cloud and AI and integration, robotics, and so on and so forth. There are companies, there are finance, venture capitalists who keep coming on campus. There are so many people. So what is the industry exposure like? Who are these people? How many people do you meet on a regular basis for you to understand the industry better? That becomes a very important part as well, right? Then you're talking about a faculty-student ratio. In India, because we have so many institutions and so many teachers and so many students, the UGC, the University Grants Commission, which is the governing body of all universities, has mandated that every particular college should at least have 1:20, which means 1 faculty ke liye 20 bachcha hona chahiye. I feel that is too much pressure on the faculty as well. You cannot focus and you cannot deliver a very customized learning experience to a student if you have a 1:20 or more than that. Most Indian universities have a faculty-student ratio of 1:100 or 1:80 or 1:90, right? You go to any of these age-old colleges, jo bahut saalon se chalte aa rahe hain, they're part of your, they're part of your city. Everyone knows them in the city. There are multiple universities in Sonipat as well. Likewise, you go there, the faculty-student ratio is easily around 1:70, 1:80. What will the faculty focus on? Who will the faculty focus on? What will the student learn? So faculty-student ratio, which is anywhere between, say, 1:2 to 1:10, is a very healthy faculty-student ratio. Your learning will be very customized, your learning will be very specific, and you will have a lot more opportunity to learn from your faculty. Fair enough? So we've covered a residential campus, we've covered an industry exposure, we've covered right ecosystem, we've covered the faculty-student ratio, we've covered diverse peer group. Then we look at three more parameters, and post this, your B school selection should become easier. The other 3 parameters are, number 1, global exposure. What is the sort of exposure do I get to the world outside of me? Why do I need exposure to the world outside of me? Any idea? Anyone here? We've been speaking about globalization for quite some time now. Yes? Why do I need exposure to the world? Specifically in management? Come on, guys. I hope everyone's not asleep. Why do we need so much work, so much knowledge about people, about companies outside as well? It lets us. Okay, no, I don't have. Yes, anyone? To know our strengths. Okay. What else? We just spoke about it some time back. We just spoke about the concept called as globalization. Everything is interconnected, which means if you do not know what is happening outside, if you do not know what is happening outside of India, you will not be prepared for what is going to be happening inside of India as well. Yes. So globalization, obviously, or rather a global network, yes, Shubham, that's nice. A global exposure helps you understand what are things that are happening outside. If I'm doing marketing in India this way, but if I get a certain exposure to maybe marketing techniques in Spain, then naturally I get to know how people in the world are thinking and I can improvise my product. I can make my product much more global as well, right? So global exposure is extremely important in the university. So you need to check if your institution has international tie-ups. Does it have opportunities where you can look for semester exchange programs, study abroad programs? And even if you're not able to go outside, do you have course connects? Do you have international faculty who come in and take classes for you? Do you have people from international backgrounds, people who've taught at Yale University, people who've taught at Birmingham University, so many different international institutions and very good institutions? Do you have people like these coming and teaching you? That's the global exposure that you sort of taken from. Okay. Then the next point comes across as an interdisciplinary curriculum. What is it? It's an interdisciplinary curriculum. And I'm going to just write this down as well. Yes, what is an interdisciplinary curriculum? A curriculum that allows you to merge concepts from different backgrounds, different subjects, and push them together. For example, when you do finance, and we spoke about this entrepreneurship example some time ago, when you do finance, or when I have to talk about finance to someone about savings and likewise, I also need to understand that when I'm talking about a certain instrument, if I'm talking about, let's say, mutual funds, and if I'm selling mutual funds to someone in maybe Punjab, and I'm selling mutual funds to someone in maybe Kerala, I need to understand the psychology of the person that I'm talking to. That is called as behavioral finance, right? How does behaviors of people change financial decisions in companies as well? So there is a necessity that although management is all about finance, marketing, HR, operations, blah, 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 we still need to have an understanding of concepts like psychology, complex concepts like society, sociology, what is happening around me all over. That will sort of help me gain a better perspective. So if your curriculum allows that, for example, at Rishiyur, I know for a fact that we have something called as neurosciences. Neurosciences is the study of the brain, a technical study of the brain on how brain patches function in different responses. So if you're angry, how does your brain function? If you're emotional, how does it function? If you look at a product and feel very happy, ठंडा मतलब Coca-Cola, right? Or Coca-Cola is a bottle of happiness that opens up. जब मैं वो पढ़ती हूँ तो मेरे को कितनी खुशी मिलती है. All of this is mapped through neurosciences. Now, neurosciences is done by a different department, but all of my students in the MBA do a course on neuromarketing, neurofinance, neurooperations, and likewise. Why? Because when I do neuromarketing, I take technical nodes. I use functions like virtual reality, augmented reality. I use Internet of Things. I use AI. I use all of these technological aspects to understand my consumer better and become a better marketing expert, right? So an interdisciplinary curriculum becomes very, very important. And the last bit is opportunities for lifelong learning. Please understand, whatever you learn today will be obsolete after 5 years. आप आज जो भी कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ रहे हैं, सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स 5 साल के बाद खत्म हो जाएंगे. 10 years back, no one would have thought that marketing could be taught through memes. But today, there are institutions like Rishu, like a lot of others that I know of and I've been part of as well, who are teaching marketing through a meme. So I can create a meme for a particular concept and I can actually teach marketing to you through that. So there are so many ways in which I can do. So everything that you learn today, after 5 years is going to get obsolete, which means, does your curriculum focus on certain aspects which are for lifelong learning? For example, academic writing. How do I write? All of you all may think it's a very stupid thing. यार मुझे लिखने की क्या जरूरत है? I'm an MBA professional. I will go, I will work, I will have a large office. I'm going to have a lot of peons and assistants and everyone, and I'm going to enjoy life. No, that does not happen. On a daily basis, as a manager, you will have to write so many emails. Now, if your email cannot communicate well, then if you've not written it well, then naturally it falls flat when you're what you're trying to do as well. So business communication, academic writing, the knowledge of new technological trends, whether it is digital marketing or it is even AI. How do I use chat GPT for writing better? All of these particular things are lifelong learning based, so that you can retool after 5 years, after 6 years. You can go back to these basics. You can talk about applied ethics. You can talk about subjects like public speaking in debate. These are skills that will help you improve at any point of time in life as well. Fine. So if your curriculum has a focus on lifelong learning, trust me guys, if you have these 6 or 8 check marks done, then I think you're sorted in terms of selecting the right business school for you. The other part that you have to think of is, so I usually tell my students, apply to 5 to 6 business schools, at least 5 to 6 institutions. When you apply to 5 to 6 institutions, and once you go through the entire selection process and likewise, you will probably clear or rather get shortlisted by 3 of them. Okay, so you apply to 6, you will get shortlisted by 3 of them. If you get shortlisted by all 6 of them, there is something wrong with the selection of your B schools. Fine. So apply these parameters, select about 6 business schools, go with their entire admission process, get selected. If you get selected by 3, then check which is the college where you want to go, location wise, preference wise, which is the college that gives you the maximum scholarships, maximum amount of financial aid for you to lower down the burden and the cost of the entire thing. Tarun has a question, is Bangalore okay for MBA? Is Bangalore enough exposure? Tarun, Bangalore has a lot of exposure. Unfortunately, what I've been seeing, it's a good ecosystem in terms of industry for sure, right? But when I'm seeing management B schools in Bangalore, to be very honest, apart from maybe IIM Bangalore and to an extent maybe ICFI Bangalore, these are the only 2 institutions that are decent. There are hundreds of institutions in Bangalore, but trust me, the sort of work that they're doing in terms of curriculum, in terms of prepping you up for something stronger, or otherwise, it's a little bit of a gamble. I understand you're from Chennai. I'm from Chennai too. And I have traveled across the entire country ever since I was 16. Trust me, if you're wanting to get into, if you want new exposure of places and you want to sort of grow very well through the MBA program, look for an institution which is the farthest from your comfort zone. जितना आप अपने घर से दूर रहेंगे, the more you're far away from your home, the more far you're away from your comfort zone, the more you will put in efforts to innovate better, to think better, to progress better as well. The more you're more comfortable, the more you are with people who are more familiar around you, trust me, familiarity will put a limitation on how much you can think. So don't really, don't rather curtail yourself with locations. Okay. And this is something that I tell every student of mine who's been an MBA aspirant. Trust me, I've had students who've studied at Kellogg, at Harvard, at Cornell. I had a student of mine last year who's gone to Kellogg for an MBA program. For a 2-year MBA program, Kellogg charges roughly around 1 to 1.5 crore rupees in Indian currency. Okay. Inclusive of your living and everything. My student went in on a 95% scholarship to Kellogg. And he is from a very small town, which is about 100-150 kilometers away from Jaipur. So I literally had to work with him for almost 6 to 7 months to get him on par with a lot of things. But I think you should not really say, okay, I'm from Chennai, let me go only 600-700 kilometers dur. Let me only look at that place. No, do not restrict yourself through locations. Restrict yourself through the sort of B school that you want to get into. So apply these parameters, get to know what are these particular business schools, business programs that you want to get into, apply for all of them, get through their admission processes. The first step is always that the university has to choose you. That is very, very important. Once the university chooses you, then you can choose the university, then you can choose your particular institution. Before I take in any other questions, and I think I'll just briefly touch base on the specialization areas as well. I did speak to you about finance a little bit. So if you're very structured in your thought process, if you have a passion for numbers, if you're someone who really, really likes numbers a lot, then I think finance is a good game for you. A lot of scope, a lot of growth in finance for sure. Most of the guys who are running the world are finance honchos, but you have to have an aptitude for mathematics and for numbers. Okay. If you're someone who's very creative, who's very easy to talk to, who can understand people very well, who can gel up with people very well, who is someone who's very comfortable understanding human emotions and how things can be done, then I think marketing is a fantastic career for you. And again, I want to stress down, marketing is not sales only. Okay. Sales is a part of marketing. Marketing is not sales only. So look at marketing holistically. There's advertising, there's branding, there's film and television management, there's communications, there's digital marketing. There is, of course, retail, there is sales. There are so many areas. If you're someone who really enjoys working with a lot of group of people, you enjoy creativity, you get bored after doing certain things after a point of time, then I think marketing is the way forward for you. If you're someone who's highly structured, highly process driven, you are that sort of a person that if you buy a notebook, you will properly keep it clean. You will ensure that the date is written only in that particular manner. You have an OCD for structure. You have an OCD for systems and processes. Then HR is the way for you. HR, a lot of people think human resources is about being nice to people. A lot of girls come to me and say, ma'am, I'm fantastic with people and I think I should be in HR. Not necessarily. And it is a myth which says that HR professionals are always women. No, there are number of guys who are HR professionals who are extremely senior, who specialize in organization behavior and are male members who run human resources as well. The other myth is that if you want to live your life easy, you should get into HR. No, it's very, very difficult setting up processes and systems for an organization. You have to have the balance to understand people, to empathize with them, but at the same time, also be very firm with the sort of processes that you want to get into. So if you're highly structured, very, very structure driven, then human resources is a good space for you to be in. Then other areas like operations or logistics and supply chain management, these are areas that you need to have a very, very organizational bent of mind, right? And a very keen sense of understanding of how market will change. Logistics can be very overwhelming because there's a lot of data processing to be done as well. So again, if you're good with maths, but you don't want to get into core finance sort of a role, then an operations will be better. If you have an engineering background, then an operations will also be a good field for you to get into so that you can get into project management and so on and so forth. Then we look at a specialization like international business. If you are someone who has a family business background, or if you are someone who wants to become an entrepreneur, who wants to get into a certain business background, you want to get into external affairs, trade, export, import, that sort of a field, you want to understand a field which has a lot of necessity for you to interact with the world outside of India, then international business is necessary. International business, mind you, has a component in all of the other specializations also. Even in finance, you have to learn about how things are done outside the world, outside India. Even in marketing, you need to do that. But international business as a specialization focuses on management concepts, and it focuses on how things function outside of India more in detail. And you can club it up with anyone. The other specialization that is picked up over the years has been the specialization on entrepreneurship. Now, a lot of people ask me, how is MBA and entrepreneurship the same? Can anyone tell me? Can I say, if I am an MBA, can I become an entrepreneur? Or can I take entrepreneurship as a specialization? Can entrepreneurship be taught? Anyone on the chat box? Yes? Definitely. Yes, we can do that. Of course. Tarun says no. Let me check up. All right. Entrepreneurship is what is entrepreneurship about? Entrepreneurship is about taking accountability and taking ownership for something. If I have built this product, then I'm going to do everything possible to ensure that I get the best for this product and I have ownership towards it. If I push this down, if I throw this phone down, I'm going to cry because I have ownership towards that. I have accountability towards that, right? Today's time, every particular person, every manager is expected to be an entrepreneur. You may work in companies like Google, Amazon, look at any of the top companies in the world, Google, Amazon, Meta, you look at Adobe, you look at any of these giants in the world, every particular person who works there is a person who will be entrepreneurial, if not an entrepreneur himself. So you don't necessarily need to start your own business immediately, but you have to think like an entrepreneur. You have to think like an owner. So if you're going to get into a job and say, okay, fine, this is my role, people are going to give me 5 things, and I'm supposed to do only those 5 things, your career will never take off. You will always be stuck in the same run, right? For you to grow better in your career and for you to grow further in your career, you definitely require an element of innovation. You require an element of creativity. You require an element of thinking, which are all very key assets of an entrepreneur. So, what happens in a specialization that focuses on entrepreneurship? It's a specialization that helps you start thinking like an entrepreneur, which helps you looks at a product not just as a product but as a revenue generation thing. Uh, you don't look at, let's say, if I have to sell this diary, I'm not going to think of it as a product. I'm going to say, okay, fine, if this is a diary, what is it going to help my customer with? It will help my customer pen down his thoughts. It will be therapy. So if I can look at a business of stationery like diary as therapy, that is the vision that an entrepreneur has. That is the vision that you also should have when you get into an organization. Therefore, the entrepreneurship specialization obviously focuses a lot. Of course, yes, there are focus areas in an entrepreneurship specialization which talk about how to raise capital, how to talk to a venture capitalist, how to talk to someone who will fund your money, fund your business, investors. How do I make a business plan? All of these are necessary skill sets, because the idea is, again, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years down the line after you do your MBA, you should be in the position to start something of your own and generate employment. I think that's what is the crux of almost all specialization areas. Now, if you all have any questions, you can put it in the chat box. Before I close, let me just quickly talk to you a little bit about Rishihood as well. Not too much. And like I said, I don't like presenting otherwise also. Rishihood is India's first and only impact university. And I say that very proudly. I've been associated with Rishihood for the last 1.5 years. I was in a very, very comfortable role in a very established brand in a city like Pune. But I left that and I came all the way to Sonipat to Rishihood because I loved the impact story that the guys were trying to build. Rishihood is a young venture started by two IITians. So we have Sahil, who is an IIT Delhi pass out. We have Shobit Mathur, who is the Vice Chancellor. He's also an IIT Bombay pass out, and then an ISB, Indian School of Business, Hyderabad pass out. He was with Amazon for years and years together. Left a very comfortable, very high-paying job. Sahil left crores and crores of packages because both of them wanted to create an impact in the education industry and create something that can help you achieve something called as Rishihood. And when I say Rishihood, it doesn't mean कि मुझे आपको ऋषि मुनि बनाना है. No, Rishihood technically means that you achieve the state of your highest potential. Whatever is your state, my state of highest potential is very different from yours, and that is going to be where you have to sort of get into. So that's what Rishihood was conceptualized with. There are certain areas of impact that we realized. We realized that we need areas of impact like entrepreneurship. So our entire focus is on ensuring that all of our students are entrepreneurial in the sense that they can start businesses while they're on campus. They want to go out and start something of their own. They can do that. When they join companies in impactful roles where they're able to take decisions like entrepreneurs themselves. We identified areas of education. There are areas of healthcare. There are areas of creativity. So about 4 or 5 buckets where we decided that we wanted to go ahead with impact. Now, the MBA program specifically at Rishihood is designed to ensure that you are prepared enough for a VUCA world. Does anyone know what does VUCA mean? Anyone? Come on, quick, last question. I'm not even going to bug you too much with too many questions. What does exactly VUCA mean? Yes? Volatility, uncertainty. What is CNA? Complexity and ambiguity. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ina. We have volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That is what the sort of world is in. If you all have been following news Of late, we've had a lot of companies like Google and Meta and so many others who've laid off people. In fact, Facebook just announced very recently they're going to do another round of layoffs as well. We're in a very volatile, we're in a very uncertain, very ambiguous, very complex world. And the entire program at Rishute for the MBA is focused to ensure that you are prepared for such a VUCA world as well. You are prepared as an entrepreneurial mindset oriented student to go ahead and face whatever possible that you have. So technically, it's a 2-year program. Obviously, you have the first year, which is generic, where you will learn everything about finance, marketing, international business, all of the specialization areas, management as a whole. And once you're done with the first year, you sort of have an understanding of which area of specialization calls out to you more, where will you actually do very, very well. You choose that, you do a 2-month summer internship in those particular areas. So you will sit with your career services team. The career services is headed by someone who's extremely experienced in the industry. He's been placing so-called students from B schools for the last 20 years now. And I think he has such a good knack of understanding of what sort of role, what sort of domain will you actually fit in. So he will help you, he and his team will help you improvise yourself. How do you change your body language? What do you wear? How firm is your handshake when you go for an interview? Everything put together. So you work on that, you give your summer internships. Once your summer internships are done, you come back, and the second year, you deep dive into your specialization areas. The cherry on the cake is that you can take up 2 specialization areas. Most business schools in the country will also offer you an option to pursue 2 specializations, but mostly those are given in the combination that you take one, which is your major area of specialization, and another area, which is your minor area. That minor area that is given to you usually is for you to have a better understanding, but you don't really have an outcome out of it. At Rishihud, you have an option to do a dual specialization. So if you do a finance and marketing, you will do both of them as majors. You will be eligible for placements for both sort of roles, both finance as well as marketing. And obviously, there are a lot of life projects, there are industry projects. In fact, one of our founders is Mr. Motilal Oswal. If you've not heard of him and you're an MBA aspirant, it's a criminal offense. Go ahead and find out about him. Mr. Motilal Oswal is, let me type in his name so you can Google him later, is one of the highest taxpayers in the country. Motilal Oswal is Oswal, not Oswald. Sorry, that's the autocorrect that happens. Motilal Oswal is one of the highest taxpayers in the country. He's also one of the highest or the largest finance stalwarts in the country, right? His firm, Motilal Oswal Investments, churns crores and crores of funds for the Indian nation every year in terms of mutual funds and likewise. If you talk to your parents who are into mutual funds, who are into investments, they will know the name immediately. He's a founder for the university. In fact, one of the reasons why you should be in a residential campus is because when I invite industry people like Motilal sir to the campus, I can't tell him ki boss, mera college to 9 to 5 hai, and therefore you have to come only between that. I can't do that. I have to entertain them at whatever time they want to come in. So Motilal sir, when he came to the campus to interact with students and to talk to them and meet them and understand their perspectives, he actually came at around 8 o'clock in the evening, had dinner with everyone, had a bonfire with all the students, chatted across with them, interacted with them about his life stories, got to know the students well till about 12 or 1, left for the airport around 2:30 and back to Bombay. Now, if you're not in the residential campus, you're going to miss out on Motilal sir completely. So I think it's very, very important that you understand these reasons. Guys, when you're doing an MBA, and I'm again reiterating, MBA is like marriage. You should do it late, but you should not do it wrong. It's very, very important. So go ahead, analyze. It is okay. You tell me, Anju, mujhe kuch samajh nahi aa raha hai. I don't know whether I want to do this time or not. Take a year's break. Build your profile. Do a lot of add-on certifications. Add up, bulk up your entire way perspective about MBA. Then apply for the MBA. There is no particular hurry. Masters usually people do only once. Do it really, really well. To help across all of our students, and I mentioned to you earlier as well, that as Rishihud, we obviously believe in the concept of creating impact. The entire admissions process at Rishihud is also focused on ensuring that each and every student who interacts with us throughout the entire process has certain takeaways to take in from. All right. So you can start off an application at the Rishihud portal. I will just mention the portal here. You can mention, you can start off an application there for the MBA program. Now, the MBA application is about a 3-step process. You have an online application where you will go ahead with multiple areas. You have academic details, you have contact details, your extracurricular achievements. You also have something called as the statement of purpose. This is an extremely important um, document or a section. A statement of purpose literally means that what is the purpose? Why do you want to do an MBA in the first place? That clarity has to be there. So why an MBA and why an MBA from Rishihood? You need to do a lot of research, read up our website, read up. And this is, when I say Rishihood, please mark it across with 5 or 6 other B schools also that you want to apply. Okay. Any particular institution that you want to apply to, please do a good research on them. Talk to their faculty, visit the campus, meet the students there, meet the people, talk to the counselors, get a complete understanding of the program, and then go ahead. I have students from Chennai, I have students from Chengalpettu, I have students from Coimbatore, I have students from Kerala, deep Kerala, I have students from the Northeast. So you have an entire gamut of people who are available here for you to check around whether this is a good place or not. When you do this research, you get a better understanding of the institution, and then you can start writing your statement of purpose. Statement of purpose has as much as 30% weightage in your selection. So it has to be really, really good. Once you finish your statement of purpose is when you finish your application. Now, most of you all are MBA aspirants. I am guessing that you all have exam scores with you. You have entrance exams that you've given, whether the CAT or the ZAT or MAT or whichever. If you have given any of these entrance exams and if you have a score of more than 70 percentile, please go ahead and apply with that. If you do not have a score or you have a score less than 70 percentile, then I would encourage you to go ahead and take the Rishihood Scholarship and Aptitude Test. It's a simple 2-hour test. The team will help you with sample questions, what sort of questions will come in preparation and everything else put together. Give a good shot at it. Once your RSAT is done, you will have an interview round with the admissions panel and the faculty panel, and post that within a week's time, we will let you know whether you're shortlisted for the program or not. If you're shortlisted, do you get a merit scholarship or not? All of this is done within a week's time. Once you're done with this and once you have the offer in hand, then check up what are the other offers in hand. Make a good visit. If you can, even if you're at far off places, please take the pains to visit the particular institution, go through it completely, absorb the entire institution inside you, then take a call on where you want to go. Now, to help students with this entire process and to help students build their profile, build their statement of purpose well, add up more perspectives as well, we do something called as the Rishihood Catalyst program. Okay. And this is not something that you have to enroll separately into. Once you start your application, once you become an applicant with us, a paid applicant with us, every student is put into the Rishihood Catalyst program. All right. What does the RCP do? What does the Catalyst program do? The Catalyst program has about 5 to 6 or even more than that. I don't think we've ever curtailed to 5 to 6. Maybe around 5 to 10 odd sessions on Zoom, some like this, which are webinar based, some which are meeting based, where you can interact with me and I can interact with you as well. We do a lot of sessions with different experts who are psychologists, experts who are finance professionals, with faculty, with different people from the industry as well, on various topics. And these topics could be topics like, how do you prepare yourself better for an interview? How do you write a strong statement of purpose? How do you prepare yourself for a group discussion or a personal interview? Or rather, for that matter, how do you understand finance better? What are the career opportunities in marketing? So there are multiple topics on which we take these sessions, and you get access to all of these sessions. All of these sessions for nothing extra. Whatever you pay for the application fee is 1,000 rupees when you go ahead with the application. I think there are some application waivers. Since you have attended the webinar today, we think we have about a 50% off for the same thing. I'll ask my counselors to get in touch with you and they can help you with the process as well. But do make sure that you're using it. Even if you do not have Rishihood as the first preference and you have some other college, it is okay. I think a 500 to 1,000 rupee investment into improving your profile and doing better is not something which should be thought about. So go ahead, try with that. And whatever questions you may have, I'm going to put down my number as well as my email ID on the chat box. Please feel free to text me, WhatsApp me, write to me on email. In fact, the first thing that you all should do is send across to me a 200-word essay on yourself. Let's call it Who Am I? Okay. Who are you? Who is Tarun? Who is Shubham? Who is Janya? I want to know all of you all, right? I want to know who you people are. What are your hobbies? What are your interest areas? What excites you a lot? What is it that irritates you a lot? What is it something that you absolutely cannot take? Like for me, I cannot take it when someone um, treats people very differently just because of their class or their society or anything. I cannot bear that. I cannot see that, right? So for me, that is an absolute no-no. But for me, what excites me is talking to students like you. What excites me is when I talk to a student and the student says that, you really, really helped me across going through something like that. So those are my likes and dislikes. Those are what kicks me, what makes me alive as well. So I want to know from you, who are you? What are your interests? What are your hobbies? Where do you see yourselves? What is the pathway that you want to go ahead and pursue? Write about all of this to me. Let's have an individual conversation. You can I will have someone from my team contact all of you guys. You can set up a one-to-one conversation on Zoom or otherwise with me or with my counselors, and then we can take it up. Any other questions that you have, if you'd like to post them on, you can put it on the chat box in the Q&A, and I can take it. Or if you all think that we have clarified a lot and you would like a break for today, that is also fine. Yes. Any particular questions that you have on the chat box or likewise? Still waiting, still waiting. One of my senior trainers used to say that, Anju, after your session, if someone has no questions, it only means two things. One, that they understood everything, or the second one, that everything went over the head transmission. So I'm hoping it's not over the head transmission. And I'm hoping that this was really, really helpful. Thank you so much, Tarun. It was lovely talking to you guys as well. If anyone still has any questions, any particular clarity that you require, please do feel free to ask. I am a counselor first and then a university professional. So please, I mean, it does not necessarily have to be only about Rishihood. It could be about anyone and anything. And I think that that will sort of take it forward. Janya, thank you so much. I love communicating. One of my favorite hobbies is to talk a lot, and I get paid for it. So I think I'm doing something that I'm very, very passionate about. And I really want all of my students also to pursue something which they are really, really passionate about. Thank you so much, Shubham, for your kind words. With this, we'll wind up this, and please do expect a call or a WhatsApp or a text from my team. Do not spam them out. Talk to them. They're out there to help you only. And if there is any particular way in which we can help you out, please do let us know. Thank you so much, guys. It was lovely meeting all of you all. And I hope all of you all are able to get into the right B school with the right specialization and have the best possible career possible for you. Thank you so much.